I'm designing a LED matrix which has got high current, and I wanted to have higher heat dissipation from the PCB. So I thought if I could remove the solder resist on the top layer, that would be able to conduct the heat easier to the air, and would also create a reflector to reflect the light bouncing back to get more beam forward. And there wasn't an easy way to do that in KiCad, so I'm using version 10, and I found an interesting way to do that. Let's see. So we start with, I'll just do one for now so we can get an idea. What you need to do is go to the front solder mask layer and create a rectangle. It can be any size, and then we need to go and make it fill solid. If I go into 3D view, we can see now we have no solder resist, which is useful, but then if we try to solder it, we could bridge the current traces or the voltage traces to the ground traces on the ground plane. Not good. So to start with, I'm going to dim all the items so we only see the front layer. We can only select the front layer, and I'm going to select tracks. Unselect these ones. Then I'm going to move on to user layer 1. I'm going to right click, create from its selection, create polygon. Then I use create bounding hole, and the gap is the most important part. So we have the line width of 0.1, then the gap is the overlap from the edge of the trace. So if we wanted the silk screen to be 0.5 millimeters over the edge of the track, we put 0.5. So put 0.5. And we get some, important thing to do. Let's go back. Let's do select tracks. Unselect these ones. Move on to user layer 1. Right click. Create from selection. Create polygon from selection. Uncheck delete source after conversion. And it still kept the same values. There we go. So now we go on user layer 1, highlight everything. All items. Highlight everything. We go into the front mask layer. Do shift click, right click, and then do shape modification, subtract polygons. There we go. So now we have subtracted our track mask from the complete mask. So if we go 3D view, there we go. You can see it's covering those tracks. Now to do it with the rest of the items, go onto the front copper, select all items, or unselect, and do zones. Highlight all the zones that I want. So these are all just the conductors that I made with zones. I want to user layer 1. Right click, create from selection. Yeah, it's remembered the settings. There we go. So now I've got to unselect everything. Now go back to user layer 1. Check all items. Yeah, highlight everything. Go to the front mask, shift click on the mask, right click. Now modify shape or shape modification, subtract polygons. There we go. Now 3D view. There we can see we're covering all the polygons now. Now the last part is to actually cover the pads, and this has to be done quite manually. So if we go to user layer 1. Alright, now we have to cover the components so that the pads have the correct solder mask opening. So we're going to draw a rectangle, we're going to make fill solid. There we go. I'm going to copy this, paste, 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 highlight all of a copy, paste, 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 select all, shift, no, or move to the front mask, shift click, right click, shape modification, subtract. There we go. Now if we go to the 3D view, that's more like it. Now we can see the designated text is now on copper, so that won't print. So we might have to think about moving it onto the tracks so it can be visible on the print. Now the final step is to put solder mask on the connectors. So all we need to do there is to use the layer 1 again, and we just create a rectangle that covers the connectors that we want to do. Again, make fill solid. We can just copy this one, put it over here. Oh, let's just drag it all the way across, like so. Then I'm going to copy this one and put it down here. Then we're going to adjust the size. Bring this down. Again, highlight everything. Move to the front mask. Shift click, right click, shape modification, subtract polygons. Now 3D view. Here we go. This is the final one. Now all we have to do is finishing touches, like moving this silk screen stuff. And then like text on the side, I've just done it in the copper layer, so it doesn't require solder mask. And this means that there's better thermal dissipation as well as a built-in reflector. So I might actually change this one and remove some of that solder resist. All right, I hope that helps.